everybody. So for our short video today, we are going to take a look at this worksheet entitled Word Equations. There's a copy in Google Classroom, obviously. We're going to do the first two together, and then I'm going to ask you to finish the other 6 on your own, okay? So let's take a look at these. It says, write the word equations below as chemical equations and balance. So the first thing that you have to do is translate the words into actual chemical formulas. So when you see the word and, that's going to be your clue that you have a plus sign. So zinc and lead 2 nitrate react to form, that's where our arrow is going to go, zinc nitrate and lead. So when you see the word and, it's a plus sign. The words react to form, or combine to form, or create, or produce, however they phrase it, that's where you put your arrow. So if we look to number 2, aluminum bromide and chlorine gas react to form aluminum chloride and bromine gas. So then my next step is I have to actually change this to formulas, right? Zinc. Zinc is an element. It's on our periodic table, group 12. Right there. It is not one of our diatomic elements, which means I can make it just Zn. That's it. Lead 2 nitrate. Now, when we go from a name with a Roman numeral, that means you have charges, right? So it must be ionic. So I have to cross and drop my charges in order to figure out what my formula is going to be. So lead is Pb. The Roman numeral 2 tells me that this lead has a +2 charge on it. Now nitrate. Nitrate, as I read that name, I realize it ends in ATE. So it's a polyatomic ion. So in my reference tables, I'm going to flip to table E. Nitrate is over on the right-hand side. Right there. Nitrate is NO3 with a -1. So NO3 with a -1. So then my next step is I cross and drop my charges, right? The 2 from the lead is going to cross and drop over here. The 1 from the nitrate is going to cross and drop and go there. So if I rewrite that, I would have Pb1, but it's a 1, so I don't have to say it, NO3, 2. Okay. What did I do wrong? Well, if you're looking at this formula the way I have it written right now, it looks as if I have 32 oxygen, which is not what I'm trying to say, right? What I'm trying to say is that I have 2 nitrate NO3 groups. And the way to fix that is by putting parentheses around the NO3. So it should be PbNO3 2, okay? So react to form zinc nitrate. So zinc is Zn. I go to my periodic table. I look up the charge on zinc. Zinc is a +2. Nitrate, we already looked up, right, is NO3 with a -1. You think about crossing and dropping there, you're going to get ZnNO3. 2. And lead. Lead is Pb. It is not one of my diatomic elements, my Hinkelbroth elements, so it's just Pb. Okay, that's the first part. The second thing I have to think about then is actually balancing. So I'm going to switch colors real quick. I'm going to go with purple. So to balance this equation, you have to take inventory. Now think of the arrow as kind of being your dividing line. Now you could do this on a separate sheet of paper or off to the side, wherever. I'm going to do it right below so that it's easy to sort of follow along with what's happening. So I'm going to make a list of all the different ions that are in this reaction. And I'll explain why I'm going by ion rather than by element. When you have a polyatomic ion, like that NO3, the nitrate ion, and it appears on both sides of the equation, you can actually, in your inventory, count that as one thing. So I have Zn, Pb, NO3. Now, if that's confusing to you and you want to separate the ion into nitrogen and oxygen, have at it. that'll work too. But just as a technique to make balancing go faster, if you see a polyatomic ion and it appears on both sides of the arrow, you can leave it as one thing because it's not breaking apart. All right, so my initial inventory, I have 1 zinc, I have 1 Pb, I have 2 NO3s, right, because the 2 is outside the parenthesis. On my product side, I have 1 Zn, I have 1 Pb, and I have 2 NO3s, and lo and behold, this is already balanced. So you could leave it just like this, or if you would prefer, you can actually go in and write in the 1s in front of each of these substances. The benefit to putting in the 1s, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, is that if this were a multiple choice question, it might be phrased as, what is the sum of the coefficients? Sum of the coefficients means you have to add together the coefficient numbers. So the answer would be 4, right? 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So that's the benefit of just getting in the habit of writing in the 1s. It is perfectly correct and acceptable to not write in the 1s. So kind of up to you. All right, let's take a look at number 2, aluminum bromide. Aluminum is Al. It has a +3 charge. Bromide, is just bromine with a -1. So aluminum with a +3, bromine with a -1, cross and drop, you wind up with AlBr3. Okay. No, I can't. Okay. Chlorine gas. Now, chlorine is Cl. But chlorine is one of our 7 diatomic elements. So it's never just going to be Cl by itself. It has to be Cl2, okay? Again, hydrogen, iodine, nitrogen, chlorine, bromine, oxygen, fluorine, Hinkelbroth. Or if you're more of a visual person, if you look to see where those elements are on the periodic table, hydrogen is obviously over here, and then the others actually make the number 7 across the periodic table. Nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine going down group 17. So make sure you know those 7 diatomic elements because of situations like this. If you didn't know that chlorine was diatomic, you wouldn't write the formula correctly. If you don't write the formula correctly, you're never going to get the right balance. All right, react to form. Aluminum chloride. Aluminum, again, is Al +3. Chlorine is Cl -1. So cross and drop, that's going to be AlCl3. And then bromine gas. Bromine is another one of our diatomic elements. So it's Br2. So now as I go to take inventory here, I have aluminum, I have bromine, I have chlorine. Again, just another tip that I mentioned before. Keep your inventories in the same order on both sides. That will make your life easier. All right, so initially I have 1 aluminum, 3 bromines, 2 chlorines. On my other side, I have 1 aluminum, 2 bromines, 3 chlorines. Okay, so to balance this, my aluminums are balanced, my bromines are not, my chlorines are not. And what I'm recognizing is that I have 3 bromine on my reactant side, right? There is no number that I can put in front of Br2 that's going to make it equal to 3 bromine, right? Because any number, any coefficient that I possibly could put in front of Br2 is automatically doubled, right? Automatically gets multiplied by 2. So if I put a 2 here, I'd have 4 bromine. If I put a 3 there, I'd have 6 bromine, which, next tip, I guess. When you run into a situation like this, where you, again, kind of have this even-odd situation. You have an even number on one side, odd number on the other. The trick, try doubling everything and then see what that does. So currently, even though nothing's written, I really have 1s in front of all these different substances. So I'm going to start by putting 2, 2, 2, 2. Now, is that my balance? No, but it'll get me closer. So now I have 2 aluminum, 6 bromine, 4 chlorine. That was a terrible 4, but there we go, 4. On this side, I have 2 aluminum, 4 bromine, 6 chlorine. Again, it's not currently balanced, but now I can at least see a pathway to getting to my answer. So if I focus in on my bromines, I have 6 bromines on my reactant side. I want to have 6 on my product side, which means this is not a 2. It must be a 3. Actually, let me see if I can erase just to make that less of a mess. Let me do that. It is going to let me do that. Okay. So that must be a 3. Same thing's going to happen with the chlorine. I want to have 6 chlorine on my reactant side, which means this is not a 2. It must be a 3. Okay. So a lot going on there, guys. We did some practice in class on Monday. However, practice makes perfect. This really is one of those things, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. So there are 6 more problems on this sheet when you are done. So do this in Kami and turn it in, all right? And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.